Welcome to Black Tech Voices, the podcast that amplifies the journeys, challenges, and triumphs of Black IT professionals in the diaspora. From breaking barriers to driving innovation, we're sharing real stories, real struggles, and real success in the world of tech and digital careers. Tune in, get inspired, and be part of the movement. Black Tech Voices, where our stories matter.
Hi, everyone. This is your main man, Kuncho and Kendi, and we're back at Black Tech Voices, and where we bring in IT professionals, most especially the Black IT professionals to come and share their experience, with those who are, with everyone actually, but especially those who are still um, doubting, those who are still scared, to go to venture into tech. So we have one of our experienced professional that I brought in today to share her experience. So her name is Modupe Tinubu. Deborah Tinubu, right? So she has been in the tech for many, many, many years, many, many years, working, of course, within the financial sector. So, brought her in to come and share, her experience with us. But, the topics that we're going to be, that we're looking at today, is around problem solving, as a tech professional, as a Black, um, professional working in the diaspora, who actually, has done well and been successful within the tech. So some of the problems, some of the techniques, and then the challenges that she has faced, working within the IT environment. But before we start, I'm kind of just going to allow her, to share her experience. And, firstly, it's going to be what exactly, your journey. What's your journey? How did you transition into um, the to become a business analyst? What actually inspired you to to go into tech? So hi everyone. So this is Modupe T. So please make her welcome. And yeah, so you're free to take just share your experience with us. What's inspired you, to go into tech, and especially being a woman. So
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Funchal. Thank you for the opportunity to come and share my experience, my little experience so far in the tech field. So, okay. So, first question is what really, my journey into business analysis and what inspired me to pursue a career in tech. Um, Firstly, I think for me, I've always been within the IT field because I actually study information technology and data management at university. So I think I've already kind of had like a soft landing because I kind of studied information technology. But obviously I didn't pursue it as a career. I think at the end of my degree, different jobs, I ended up as a ICT teacher, information communication technology, which I embarked on for 10 years. I was actually teaching in a mainstream secondary school for 10 years. So I've always been within the tech field, but not corporate tech like we know it today. I've always been in the world of ICT. And I think for me, what really inspired me to, move away from that and, journey into business analysis was, I think it's job satisfaction. I've been an ICT teacher for about 10 years, but obviously I wasn't getting the job satisfaction I wanted. And I looked at opportunities where I could easily transition to. I think the first thing I looked into was software testing, because I think that was one of the most popular careers at the time. This was 2014, 15. So I kind of did some training in software testing, but still, when we were looking at completing our training, then they said, okay, manual testing is being phased out. Now they're moving into automation. And I'm thinking, okay, we are stepping into it and now they're making it harder. So I thought, okay, what else can I do? Because, yes, I've got some basic programming skills, but not to that level. Then I thought, okay, what else can I do? And when the opportunity for business analysis came, and business analysis, does not involve you needing a lot of, software programming skills, or, even it's not very technical, like, testing. So that was one of the things that drew me to business analysis. And I thought, okay, this was an area I could, explore more and see what opportunities are there. And, I trained with Avenue Impact, and, like we said, the rest is history. And I'm here today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's actually very inspiring and very interesting to hear that you did start TED as an ICT teacher. Does one really need the IT? Do I have to come from the IT background, to get into the tech and build my career within the tech?
No, not necessarily, because business analysis on its own does not really have a lot to do with tech. Yeah, the tools you're going to use, but you can always learn how to use a new tool. It's almost the same as when you buy a new phone. You get used to your phones, all the different, settings. The more you use it, you get better at it. But so I don't think there's any kind of advantage if you had like an IT background or you've been in IT. But I think what really helped me was I was able to familiarize myself with using a lot of software very quickly. So, there were things I could do with Excel that a lot of people couldn't do. There were things I could easily pull out on PowerPoint because I taught ICT for a long time. And I was also able to understand a lot of technical jargons really quickly because there were things I was familiar with from my experiences. So even when I was in a meeting and they were talking about things like, when you have meetings, especially with the technical team, and they were talking about data structures and they were talking about data fields, relation, because there were things I was already familiar with. So I was able to understand. So I think that was the advantage it gave me. I was able to interpret a lot of technical jargons and break it down to say, okay, this is what they were saying. Because I think if I didn't have that, and plus when I started, my first role as a BA was actually a technical BA, and I think that was because they needed somebody who could easily understood the technical languages. So I think that was an advantage for me. But there's a lot of roles out there where they would say we don't want a technical BA because we want someone who can speak like us, understand, especially when you're working with a business, understand simple English, not technical words. So I think for me, it's not really an advantage that, you have to have IT background. But for some certain roles, it's almost a benefit. It's just an added benefit if you have it. But it's not a prerequisite for business analysis because business analysis itself isn't technical.
Thank you so much. So, guys, from everything that Modupe have said, I think one of the takeaway for you is, if you're not, if you, I mean, it doesn't matter what your background is, just go for join the right network, get the right people to support you. And obviously, you're going to be successful because I guess, from my experience personally, there are many people who did not even understand what IT is that came to, that are now IT professionals. And, so it doesn't really matter what your background is, just, get the right people to support you, and obviously I'm going to talk about having an impact, so because having impact has helped and supported many people, many individuals to transition into tech. So if you're interested, just get the right people to support, to get the right support, join the right network, right community, and you're going to be very, very fine. Okay, so we're going to our topic for today, which is problem solving, and when we talk about problem solving, we're talking about business problems. So I think firstly, what I would like Modupe to, just explain to us is around, problem itself, business problem itself. So in your own words, what do you understand about, if we're talking about business problem, because before we start having a solution to problems, so we need to understand what those problems are. So when we say business problems, what do you understand about business problems?
Okay, for me, a business problem, just like any other problem, is a challenge, but it's a challenge that's faced by an organization, and such challenge is measurable by maybe there's low profits, there's poor customer service, or poor end-to-end journey or customer journey. So it's just a problem that's been identified by the organization, and we're saying, how do we turn this around? So it could be, like I said, the challenge they're currently facing, or it could even be a problem we are forecasting that we're going to face if we don't face things out, or explore new ways of working, or new processes, or new technology. So it's just a challenge the organization is probably facing now, or something they're already predicting is going to come into play at some point.
Brilliant. So literally, these are just challenges that organizations faced themselves, and they needed to, it could kind of maybe have affected their revenues and then their productivity as well. So,
yeah.
Can we, how would you typically identify those problems, and also, can you help us, define, the business problems in a project environment? So how do you identify those problems?
Okay, so typically within a business environment, when we have a lot of, one of the things we want to do first is want to gather as much information around that problem from, the key stakeholders. So, because a lot of time the problems are not sometimes documented. It's not, you can just pick up a document and that highlights all what the current challenges are. So you might need to gather information from stakeholders through different techniques. So we're through meetings, through interviews, doing some data analysis or document analysis, and try to understand the actual pain points that the business is currently facing. Then you would then try to articulate that in a way that outlines, whether through impact analysis, that outlines the desired outcome. And then you look at how do we ensure this aligns with our overall project goals. And then you might also look at techniques that you can employ that would allow you to be able to do that analysis.
Oh, thank you so much. So, in other words, we're saying that, what you've said is those problems can be identified. Are you okay though?
Yeah. Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those problems can be identified, obviously from business themselves. So it will come from business. So they would, it could come from maybe issues, operational issues that, some of the employees are facing, and which would, of course, result into problems that will be reported to the project team for problem. And also it could come from maybe policies from the government. There are several factors that would initiate, that would help to identify those problems. It could be technology as well. Maybe new technologies, it could be economic factor, so there are several factors that will help us to identify those problems. So what strategies do you generally use to bridge the gap between the stakeholders and the technical team, when solving business issues?
Yeah, that's a really. Can you hear me? I'm just checking.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so that's really important, because I think one of the key complexity with business analysis is that you find yourself working with both the business area, business stakeholders, and also the technical team who are going to actually be developing a lot of the solutions. So I think in bridging the gap between both users, between the business and the technical team, I think one of the key things is to foster collaboration and communication. So there has to be total collaboration between the two. Obviously, you're going to be acting as a bridge between them, and then also adopt communication and ensure that concern are heard on both sides. And one of the key things is to understand your target. So who's the target? Who are the users that whether it's a technical new tech that's been developed, or whether it's a new process, or it's an existing tech we just adding more features to it. Understand your target, and then tailor the communication to the audience, the right audience, whether the technical audience or your business audience. It's very important that you tailor your communication to the right people, because you're going to be getting a lot of information from the business side that you need to translate to technical information, and then you're going to be getting a lot of technical information that you need to transfer back to a bit to simple words. So it's important that you understand your target, and then you tailor your communication to the right audience and technical expertise, and then encourage collaboration. I think collaboration is very, very important between both. We're trying to bring everybody together so that we all striving towards the desired outcome for whatever project we're working on.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I know you work within the financial sector, and I understand that when we're talking about problems and solving problems, you have extensive experience in that sector, and of course, that's because there are problems every day within the financial sectors. It's not just problems that are internally influenced, but a lot of it are from external, like the regulations from financial regulatory bodies, so but thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on understanding of business problem, and how to solve those problems. Now, as a Black IT professional, working in the diaspora, I want you to, talk us through, some of the unique challenges, you faced in tech, and how have you navigated, them as well. I've heard severally from a lot of people, talking about maybe that they've been stereotyped, or maybe they've been around them because of the color of their skin, but I've realized that you have succeeded a lot, and we talk once in a while as well, and you've not complained about you've not had such experience. So but yeah, I would allow you to talk now. What are your challenges? What challenges have you faced as a Black professional?
Okay. I think for me, I know some people might find it like easy to just, explain that. For me, it's a very difficult one to explain. And the reason why I say that is because I'm a very positive person in my attitude and, working with others. So a lot of time I try to see positivity in others. So because sometimes me and my husband would argue it when people act a certain way and he sees color. I don't see color. And that's because I choose not to see color. So the first thing I want to see in that person is I want to understand why they've acted that way before I then see the color. But I think in response to your question, I think the only thing I would say is that I've had instances where I've been intentionally left out of email responses, where initially I'm the one leading on it. So I'll give you a scenario. So we had a weekly working group, and within that weekly working group there was external vendors and the bank, and there was 2 BAs. I was actually the lead BA on that work stream, and I was supporting the other BA as well, because the other BA had just come on board newly. But I'm Black African, but the other BA isn't. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his color, but it's English. So he's come on board, and I'm still supporting him so he gets up to speed with the project. So during the working group, at the end of the session, I take away all the minutes and the actions, and I push it to all the owners of each action. But when they respond back, they exclude me from the email and just send it to him. When the initial email, I copied him because the action, the minutes, everything, it's got my name on it as the owner. But this is just specific people. I noticed that, and a lot of time then we're going to the next meeting because I'm not seeing your response. I miss it, and then when I do an update, I get, oh, I've already responded. This action should be closed because I've already provided what is necessary. Oh, okay. Who did you send it to? I'll send it to XYZ. And XYZ, because he was expecting to just be copied into the email. He didn't even realize the email was to him. He's just assuming, oh, he's just a response in the back of. So I've had to get him to forward me the email. And then I had to raise it. But I think it happened a few times. I had to then raise it on the call to say, I'm owning this meeting. I set up the meeting. I own this meeting. So any email responses on the back of any actions needs to come directly to me. You can copy XY person into it, but you need to send it to me. I think I had to be vocal about it to let them know it wasn't acceptable. But I knew what was happening, because it made me look so inefficient, because I turn up at a meeting and I'm saying, action XYZ is still open. Action owner, can you give us an update? And he's saying, well, I've already completed it and I've already sent it to, you should have it by now. You should be able to close it. And then on that meeting, I'm like, okay, do you understand? It really makes you look so inefficient. So I had to raise it on that call to say, going forward, any update to any of this action needs to come directly to me. If it doesn't come directly to me, I'm going to leave it open, and it's going to remain open in the tracker for the next meet. I think that really sent a message. But like I said, I'm a very positive person, and if I notice it, I would speak to the person or confront it. But sometimes within the professional environment, you have to remain professional. So I try to just leave it that way. I don't have any personal grudge. I'm very so after that, everything was fine. But I'm vocal about it, and I will speak up.
That's really, really good. Of course, hearing that, after that, the whole experience, you still went ahead you were vocal. I think I note that down in terms of being confident and being vocal about, and you didn't even mind I think you used the right environment to also express your dissatisfaction and not attacking anybody at all.
Yeah.
But you express your dissatisfaction on how the issue has been handled, which I think a lot of people don't do. A lot of people just accept it and then moved on. And obviously that's they then get bullied into, into accepting, defeat, and eventually get into a lot of problems. So I think that being vocal and then being polite about it is very, very, very important.
Yes.
So I think so. Have you experienced barriers in career progression as a Black IT professional? And what advice would you give others facing similar challenges? So, are there any challenges you faced, or barriers in terms of career progression? And how would you advise others? So, if you've had any barrier in terms of your career progression, you can share it with us. And then, of course, and then what advice would you give anyone, facing those challenges?
Yes, I think it's a really good one, because I think a lot of time it's not just about your skill set and what you bring to the table. So a lot of times we have a lot of things that kind of blocks our way. So I think I'll give you a good example. So, achieving your goals is one thing, but being given the opportunity to actually, do it. So I've worked with a team for about 4 years, and I've been consistent. In fact, I've worn different arts. I've been a BA. I've been a tester. I've done quite numbers of UAT testing for the team. I've wore a hat of a PMO. I didn't have a clue what PMO is, but I've helped them with closing down a project. I've worn multiple hats, but there was a situation where we had I was with that team for about 6 years, and we had a situation where we had a meeting, and that meeting they invited a few people into the meeting. It was a face-to-face meeting, but I didn't get an invite to that meeting. But I put it down on the fact that I wasn't a permanent member of staff, because I was working for a consultancy firm, but obviously I was working with our clients. So I just assumed that all the people that were going in for that session were all permanent staff and contractors were not going. But then later on, I found out that a few contractors went, and they actually approached them about becoming a permanent staff. And I think that was one of the things that it made me realize that, okay, you're with them, but they're not really, you're not really part of them. So they invited 3 of the contractors, which were our, white counterparts, to become permanent staff. But I wasn't invited to that meeting, and it was not like a work meeting. It was like they had like a session in the afternoon and morning, and then they had like an evening, but I was not part of that. Anyway, so they invited them to become permanent staff, and I found out about it at the final, when we have like everybody's going off the program and moving on to different areas. And then I found out that 3 of them were going to become permanent staff. And one of them had asked me to say, "Oh, did you accept the offer?" Because he was still considering it. And I said, "Oh, what offer is that?" I said, "Oh, to become a permanent staff of the bank." And I said, "Oh, I was not aware of that." Then he wouldn't say anymore, because I think at that point you knew that, oh, we were all contractors, but I didn't take it I didn't take it bad, because I said to myself, well, I'm still a permanent staff of where I am. Opportunities come and go. And then when we had the final, so in June of last year, the program was dispersed. Everyone had to go the separate way. And then the program director, because she had to give everyone like a final farewell speech and a gift. So when she got to my turn, she appreciated all the different hats I wore, all the support, and how I was always smiling on my camera. That I've never seen Deborah on a camera with her smiling. She always has a smile on her face. One thing she regretted was not offering me a permanent opportunity to become a permanent member of staff. And I like the fact that she called it out, but then obviously to me it was almost like it's too late. Like, what's the point of bringing it up now? That was like 2 years prior. But the fact that she was able to mend the wrong, to say, I should have given the opportunity, even if I said, "Oh, I didn't, thank you for the opportunity, I don't think I want to be permanent, I want to remain as a consultant," but not getting the opportunity when others were given the opportunity. I think those are the barriers we face, because opportunity is right in front of you and you can clearly see it, but then it's almost as if you can't reach it. So that's why I keep working hard. And every time any project I join, I give them this view of a Black woman, African, who is capable, who has a skill set, so that when they want to interview and recruit the next Black person, they think of Deborah. So, you remember we had Deborah? Oh, she was brilliant, she was this. So that's the opportunity I'm giving to the next Black coming, the next one coming. So that's all they see, because it's hard, but we just have to keep pushing.
Well, thank you so much. I think the last thing you said was really, really good, in terms of, as a Black woman in the tech, that you always want to leave like a legacy behind, or let them know that, as a Black woman and as a Black IT professional, you know your stuff and you work really hard, which I can also vouch for that I know you work really hard, and you give your all, to support and ensure that your team and the organization you work for succeed. So I'm aware of that. And also in terms of wearing different hats as well, I think that's also very, very important. Ensuring that you don't just, sometimes, yes, they employ you as a business analyst, but you can also support in other areas. That there are gaps within the team. So if you have that skill, you can quickly just help to support. I think that's one of the things that will help, and that has helped you as well, because wearing different parts has helped you to succeed a lot within your team. I know that sometimes like the example you gave on some of the contractors, some of your colleagues who are contractors that were considered because of maybe the color of their skin, still doesn't stop you from giving and working hard and giving your all to ensure that projects your delivery and the projects are successful. What are the tools that you find most effective in solving problems within projects? So what tools do you find effective? There are many tools, but which one have you found effective, in solving business problems?
Okay, there are so many tools, and the tools all, it all depends on what the business problems are and what the project outcome is. So there's lots of things you can look at. You can do for me, I think one of the key tools I find is using Kanban board to visualize workflow and see how you can improve efficiency. And then look at the different agile approaches that you can use, root cause analysis, impact assessments, trying to identify the underlying cause. You can look at data analysis. I know obviously with BA we're not thinking data, but there are instances where you have to look at data and say, okay, how can we bring out what can we bring out from data to ensure that we're getting the right outcome. So SWOT analysis is another one. I've only used SWOT analysis once, but I think it was really great for that project, because one of the key things we wanted to understand what our key strengths, what were the opportunities that we had, our weaknesses, and then also the threats that we need to foresee to come. But I think my key one is still Kanban. I love using Kanban, and it allows you to sort of visualize, where you are, the flow, what's in progress, what's been completed. So I use Kanban a lot. In terms of like, oh, sorry, am I looking at methodology? Are we looking at tools?
Tools.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So I'm also looking at things like Visio. I use a lot of Visio. I think I was talking about methodology. I mixed it. So Visio, I use Visio a lot. And one of the reasons why I love using Visio is that it shows you the end-to-end journey. And a lot of time within the software development life cycle, you need to see the end-to-end journey, whether it's the current journey or the predicted future journey. I love using Visio. And when I use Visio, I like to do the swim lane diagram. So it shows you the responsibilities and roles for each different areas, because I noticed that I see some diagrams, but you cannot really pinpoint, okay, what process is this, where is this handled, because everything just flows together. So I like using swim lane diagram. And also things like fishbone. It's not very popular, but I like using fishbone to analyze and visualize root causes. Other tools I use Confluence, Jira is a really good tool. I think one of the projects I did, I was supporting the test team, so we were doing a lot of queries on Jira, so we can understand defect management, linking it to the user stories and ensuring that if there's any issues, it's been tracked. So I use Jira, I use Confluence. Confluence is a very good collaboration tool that allows everybody to connect, so we can see the different stages of the project. And not to forget Excel. I know Excel is one of those software tools that a lot of people forget. Yes, there's a lot of other new ones out there, fantastic ones out there, but there's still something about Excel document, and I feel like I'm still at that point. I'm not ready to let go of Excel yet. And I still include it, even when I produce document information on Confluence, I still embed my Excel documents on it, because I remember the other time I had to do like a master list of processes, and I thought to myself, Excel is the only one that allows you to have multiple tabs, and you can just switch from one to another. We have all these fantastic screens, but a lot of time you miss what you're looking for, and then there's so much other distraction. But you're on one worksheet, you can move from multiple from tabs, and then you can visualize what you're trying to. So I still use Excel heavily. I use it personally as well. There's other ones that within the bank that we use specifically for operations. There's Access Plus. Obviously, that's front end. There is Vision. So there's a lot of different tools that we use, which is just predominantly for the bank. There's Pega as well. There's some Pegas tools that we use. I think it all depends on what the project or the organization use. So for me, Visio, Kanban board.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So, you've covered a lot in terms of tools, in terms of, both tools we use to, that you've used to solve business problems, and obviously also platforms that you've used to manage those projects as well. I think the ones that actually attracted me, that noted that to draw to represent the ACs and the to be, and also using SWOT analysis, SWOT techniques as well, to look at the weakness, the strength, opportunities, and the threats within a project, and within, of course, identify those in an organization. You mentioned Jira, Confluence, Excel, which are tools that we generally use to manage those projects and document those issues. So thank you so much for that. How does working in agile environment, how does it help you, in your approach in solving business problems?
Okay, so well, working in agile environments, one of the things it helps you do is be able to effectively, segment the business process into, chunks. So it breaks it down into chunks so that things can be implemented iteratively. So, you can have one part of the, project being developed, and another part of the project being tested, and another part of the project being deployed. So it allows you to focus on the iterative development and delivery of that project. So I just like the fact that Agile, it breaks it down. So you're not working waterfall, where obviously you have to finish one before you then can move on to the other. You can just, start, finish, deploy, and if there's any sort of issues, you can go into the backlog, and then you can say, okay, what features can we add to make it better the next time? So it's an ongoing cycle. And like with waterfall, it's almost like it's a waiting game. Okay, once you guys are done, then we can start. But obviously, and that's why with Agile as a BA, you're constantly busy. You're constantly having things doing. And like when you're in waterfall, okay, you finish requirement has been baselined, approved, it's passed on for development. So what then do? You're literally waiting for traceability. You're like, okay, I'm gonna wait around, but that's why I like Agile. It breaks everything down into chunks, and then you execute them in parallel, and then you can then focus on development and delivery.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Guys, this is Black Tech Voices, and you can see we've brought in very experienced professional. Deborah has been working within the IT for many, many years. She's come to share her experience with us. So please, just leave your comment below as well. If you're working within the IT and you have some understanding around problems and techniques and tools that we use to solve business problems, and the challenges, that one could face, so within the project environment as a tech professional. And I like the fact you've mentioned that agile, you would deliver solutions, or would deliver results in agile, or deliverables in agile in chunks. And one of the things you also mentioned is the fact that business can see the results immediately. So that's one of the reasons why one of the immediate benefits we can identify using agile to solve business problems is the fact that business can see those results, results of those problems immediately. So I think this is going to be our final question today. As a Black professional working within the tech and in the Diaspora, advice would you give other Black professionals? There are many people kind of skeptical at the moment. I mean, many people doesn't even have a clue of what IT is. Some people actually think IT is for the geeks. Some special people are very intelligent, which is true. But before you get there, you need to, of course, you need to have been trained, and of course, the advice with Black professionals or Blacks want to go into that have the desire of becoming a professional IT professional.
Yes, thank you so much. I think for me, my first advice is, succeeding in tech or succeeding in anything you do requires confidence and hard work. And one of the things I come across is a lot of time people are not confident in the things that they do. Maybe because a lot of time we're waiting for other people to tell us, to give us a pat on the back to say it's fantastic. I think that confidence starts from how you see yourself, your past experiences. You need to celebrate your past experiences as well. So once someone gets their confidence up, everything else starts to fall in line. I think the most important thing is hard work and self-confidence. There isn't anything. Yes, there will be time and which I've experienced imposter syndrome, and I think a lot of time that's what pushes a lot of people from wanting to step into roles they're not confident in because of that imposter syndrome. Even I've worked for 6-7 years, I still suffer from imposter syndrome. The days I turn up and I'm staring and everything is just blank. They're speaking, I can't even understand what they're saying. But then I remind myself to say, I'm here for a reason. I've succeeded in the past. Then I celebrate every little win as well. So it starts from having that confidence in yourself and then working hard and continue upskilling as well. If there's a new tool and you're not familiar with that tool, take your time, read about it, watch some videos, open your mind to a lot of new things. There's a lot of things I read just for me to have more, broader understanding of things. So, be more open to learning, more open to, discussion, networking, speaking to other people who probably are doing it or even, have experience. But the most important thing is to be confident and then work hard. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Open to learning, network with the right people. I think, those are I think those will solve problems, in terms of working hard, and self-confidence. A lot of people are scared, who are scared, who doesn't have the confidence. The important, I think what I would also encourage is to, be open to learning and network with the right people, join the right community. I think those will solve the problem in terms of industrial syndrome. And also you mentioned celebrate your wins. A lot of people don't, they don't celebrate themselves at all. I think that's these are they are key points that one should actually um, embrace and use all the time. Networking is very, very important. So because, you would meet like-minded, people are all in the same category, but, they will share their experience with you. These are people that are successful already, that had those traits and those attributes, so they would help and support you to resolve those fears and the doubts you have within yourself. So it has been a great pleasure having you on our session today. Thank you so coming in to share your experience with us at Black. And guys, this is Deborah, and please, just we celebrate her. So Deborah, she's been working within the tech sector for many, many years, and she's very, very successful. And we'll be bringing her in next time to talk about there are so many topics, we can treat, so other topics, and then share experience, with our audience. So thank you so much for coming to join us and share your experience with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being honored to be invited to this platform. And for anyone still, having doubts, come on, it's 2025. Just go for it. Remove all doubts and make that move. Tech is waiting for you.
That's it, 2025. Don't remove the doubts, and tech is waiting for you. There is money to make in tech. So yeah, thank you so much, Deborah, for coming in today. So guys, please leave your comments below. Leave your comments below. Around problem solving, and obviously, if you also want to join the right community, right network, just leave your comments below, and then would respond to you. We'll get in touch with you. And we want to engage other people as well and other professionals, just to learn. We need to learn from ourselves and help ourselves. This is Black professionals working in the diaspora. So thank you guys, and God bless.
Podcast that amplifies the journeys, challenges, and triumphs of Black IT professionals in the diaspora. From breaking barriers to driving innovation, we're sharing real stories, real struggles, and real success in the world of tech digital career. Tune in, get inspired, and be part of the movement. Black Tech Voices, where our stories matter.